I think I have some programs from that night around here. If you don't have any copies of the program and you want it for your project, we'll get in touch this week and I'll send you one.
Oh, that would be terrific. Yes.
It lists all the musicians in a little short biography on all of them. I think there were something like 8 washboards and 7 or 8 tubas and 7 or 8 trombones, and the rest of that 55 was all banjos. Some of
Or a
my best friends are
gazillion.
banjo players.
It was freaking scary.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a different perspective than you wonderful musician guys. Tom and I were in the crowd amongst some other people who used to work there. And there were people who literally were in tears with the memories of the fun they had at the New York club, in particular the Boston club, Point Pleasant, Cape Cod. They were literally in tears because the music brought back such memories to them of the 60s and 70s. And just to do it to me right now, and I've watched this stuff, and I was there, in New Orleans for 3 years or whatever, for ages, but they were literally in tears. The emotional hook was so deep. And that's something that I don't know, Dick, if you understand maybe, but it's the music bound people together, but it was fun. There was such fun, and we all got tired, I'm sure, of working our shifts. I got tired. It was so much fun as being a waiter and bartender that got tired of that shit, and I'm sure that, the even playing, as you musicians love to play, but it got to be a job at some point. But the customers had so much fun that's what tied us together. That's what Joel brought fun to the world. I would love to have more fun in the world now. And we got a fun shortage right now.
Well said,
so
Kent.
Anyway.
That was great, Ken.
Well said.
You guys keep going. I got to run upstairs because Emily's invited some people over, and when you guys finish, it'll end on its own. See you next week.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks again, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. I waited in line at your father's mustache.
I have one of those.
Yep. It was a great escape from reality for everybody, and you met new friends and people. And it had magic with it for the time your life was truly under your nose there.
Well, what Kent said has a lot to do with why we're all here today. I mean, it's been a lifetime association of good friends, a few crazy ones, and whether you're a musician, bartender, waiter, doorman, or whatever, I don't think really mattered a whole hell of a lot, because we're all here and we're all parts of the same organization that's survived for 60 years.
Long time.
And in one way, it screwed us all up because
more than one, Barry. More than one.
But one of the ways is we could never find another job that brought the same feeling. I mean, a lot of us have had wonderful jobs as we went on from the mustache, but they weren't like the mustache.
That's the hard part. I've had other jobs in the restaurants and so forth, but it was never what I had in my mind and the way I liked to work and run a club. It just wasn't any place else like that. It's just the camaraderie we had among ourselves. It's sort of magical. When I'm out and I get good service and everything, I go over and talk to the waiter or waitress. I just want to tell you, I worked in a French Quarter on the Bourbon Street for a long time, and I know this business real well. I just want to tell you what a great job you're doing tonight with the good service and everything. The food was great. It makes them feel so good. Have someone say that to them. So,
but did they dance on the bar for you?
Where's the bar? I want to dance.
I think one of the things for me that has made this association so viable for so many years, and everything, it started a little prior to the mustache, but mainly developed during the mustache days and years, is putting smiles on people's faces, entertaining them, making them laugh, taking them away from their whatever cares they had of the day. And all the years that I've been doing music since the mustache closed, that's always been one of my biggest memories and and things, and the things that I've enjoyed is putting. I like making people laugh. McBride sure knows that. It's most of the rest of you, but it's just been a long, wonderful journey with a lot of wonderful people.
And you know, because of the mustache,
Oh, thank you.
I've had the opportunity to play in a lot of nightclubs on Bourbon Street and around New Orleans, but none of them where I knew the service personnel as a best friend, and none of them have a Zoom call weekly 50 years later.
That's true.
I tell people I got to go take my Zoom call. What's it about? I give them a brief history. What? We still get online and chat and laugh.
Yeah, none of them on my calendar has YFM Zoom call, and it's on my calendar every week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Show up.
Yeah, got to write it down, so I'll be sure to be on time.
I want to recount the first time that Tom and I came to New Orleans, just to put in perspective. New Orleans, never worked at another club, but Tom and I got to New Orleans. We crashed our van. We had to get a job. This gal got us a job at Your Father's Mustache, and it was only about, I don't know, that was in 1972, right after Thanksgiving. We got a job there, and then we had the Christmas party. Raj, you probably remember this, and David, you do too, and probably Barry and the rest of the guys were there. But anyway, we had the Christmas party, and Tom and I were new there. We barely knew anyone. We had the party. I think we closed the club that night, and suddenly people went over and they stuffed tablecloths under the doors and under the cracks, and we had the team joint rolling contest and the team joint smoking contest, and I thought, I found my people. And Bob Osborne brought in a joint about the size of a large cigar, and he had a wire that came from the stage to the bar. And I thought, I've never had a job like this. And I was 20 years old, so I hadn't had a lot of jobs, but I thought, I've never had a job like this, where the rules were you could do whatever you wanted to do as long as you did your job. And Joel gave us that freedom to do that. From my perspective as a young, very inexperienced human being on this planet at age 20, but I couldn't believe that I actually got paid to have fun.
And drink,
and not every second was fun. It was a pain in the ass sometimes, but I just couldn't believe. And then it said, leave the keg open, drink the beer, after hours. I mean, what kind of play? And you're right. And then Roger, when I talked to you in New York in 2011, you said it spoiled us for the rest of our lives having jobs. And I went, holy shit, absolutely. And I never had put it together till 2011 in New York when you said that I had been looking for that same level of fun, and I never found it.
No,
it's sad, but that's the truth, And when we had that Christmas party, I remember Bob Osborne walking in with this huge joint.
Oh yeah, it was as big as my arm.
We had that's right. I forgot we didn't want the smoke to go out on Bourbon Street, so we put tablecloths around the doors and everything.
I didn't imagine that. That was true. And I thought, I found my tribe. I found my people.
The tribe is here.
Home again. Finally.
And that was fun. And we did nothing wrong. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't legal in the French Quarter in 1972, but we didn't do anything wrong. We had so much fun. It was just more fun on top of fun on top of fun. And
I think that was true at all the clubs, Kent.
Yes, I worked in Denver that time we visited you for, a few shifts.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. It was different people and different layout and stuff, but it was the same thing. It was fun. And the music, wonderful musicians. I mean, Steve Martin once said, you can't be depressed listening to the banjo. It's impossible to do, and so the banjo music drove it, and the songs and the interaction. And the whole thing was built on fun. And to me, I mean, there's not near enough fun in the world right now.
Another nice thing, Kent, is
for sure.
whether you were a waiter, a bartender, a doorman, or musician, you could go to any of the clubs anywhere in the country and work. So if you wanted to travel around the country for a while and spend 3 or 4 months here or there or whatever, you could do that. And it was great.
Yeah. That's what made it great. I'd get calls a lot from an employee. He wanted to go from, say, Denver to New York, or, right, do you know this manager over here? Yeah, no problem. I'll give him a call and then just go in and ask for him. You'll have a job when you get there. And it's just, it's like some sort of magical thing going on, you know?
It was like a fraternity or a sorority, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Once you were in, if you were good enough to get in, which I'm not sure what those qualifications were.
I think it's more than a fraternity or sorority, Kent. I think it was a big family.
It was a society. Yeah, it was a family. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a family.
How did you get hired? What was it like? Did you just walk in and apply, or what went on?
Well, I know how we got
Sometimes
hired.
we hired people.
There was a gal named Barbara Schultz who knew Roger and David, and she took us and said, hire these guys. And they did. And strong references. How about that?
In Denver, Dick, I happened to run into an old friend from high school on the street one day, and he told me about the mustache. So I went down and applied. Jerry Sacco was the manager. And one of the things on the application was list your nicknames. And my nicknames ran all the way around the application. Jerry didn't want to hire me because he thought I was too crazy. And in Denver, we had to start, if they hired you, you had to start, you had to work 3 nights for nothing to see if you fit in. And if you fit in, you were hired. If you weren't, bye-bye, hit the door, Jack. And I don't know if that was true in the rest of the clubs, but it certainly was in Denver.
I have to leave, guys. I'm so happy to be here. I love hearing these stories. They really are, they're wonderful. And Joel was just so immersed in love for you all. So I'll see you next week.
All right, Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Bye-bye.
Go to. See y'all later, guys. Next
Okay,
week.
guys. Have a good week.
Before you
Hey, Mike,
go,
Chris.
I wanted to ask you if you went in and they gave you 2 days to find out whether you fit or not. How did that take place?
Well, yeah, I started in Denver as a waiter in March of 1970. You had to work 3 nights at no pay and full uniform to do all the crazy bullshit, you know, as the waiters did, serving drinks and doing the can and roll out the barrels with empty beer kegs over your heads and throwing them out in the street, the traffic and stuff. And I was lucky enough to be crazy enough to get hired. And it's been a 55-year journey with many chapters, stories, and experiences. But that's the way it was in Denver. I don't know about anywhere else. Night, Daryl.
Okay, more next week.
Night,
All right.
everybody.
Good to see you. Nice seeing you, Ken.
Hey, good to see you.
Take care.
Wonderful
next week.
stories, guys.
More stories. We got a lot more stories.
Oh,
I got a couple of good Roger stories. Well, maybe I'll tell them before I die.
Well, that's how culture is passed on, is through stories. So the more stories, the better. Yes.
Hey, remember the TV series that said there's 1,000 stories in the Naked City?
Yeah.
In the Your Father's Mustache, there's 1,000,000 stories. I'm just telling you.
At least a million, Kent.
This could be a mini series for
Hey,
like 5 years.
I like that.
What time did they close? Did you guys close? 2
When you
o'clock
get in New Orleans, no, in New Orleans, we closed when there weren't any customers because the bars were open 24 hours a day. Could be. So there were times we closed at 1 in the morning because there was no customers. Time we closed what, at 4 in the morning? Good Lord.
That was great. That was great for when you work, because you could get off work and go out and have a couple of drinks somewhere.
In Denver, we were not open on Sundays. And the liquor laws at the time said we had to close at 2 o'clock in the morning. The rest of the week.
Got to pay attention to the laws.
New Orleans was different.
Yeah.
Didn't you work at a hotel up in Aspen or Vail?
I'm sorry? Kent?
Yeah. Did you work at a hotel?
No, I worked. I was food and beverage director of a hotel in Boulder, the Hilton Harvest House.
Yeah, that's been torn down now, hasn't it?
Well, it's being torn. It's either being whatever. I mean, but when I was there in '78, that was the biggest. Talk about a happy hour.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
New Orleans during Mardi Gras was busy. When I got hired there, I was in charge of the bar, and we had this Friday afternoon club. The first time we had it, we had a 5-acre beer garden, we went through 5,000 cases of beer in 2 hours. Had 42 bartenders, 20 doormen, 22 bouncers, and 22 cocktail waitresses, 20 bouncers, and 10 beer runners. And it made anything the only reason I was able to deal with it because I was trained at a place in New Orleans called Your Father's Mustache. But it was the second biggest liquor outlet in Colorado besides the Denver airport.
Wow.
You can't believe
phenomenal.
When I ordered for the well, remember Roger you ordered to get the maximum discounts? I ordered 100 cases each of the well.
Oh,
Before
wow.
football. We had I was there 78. We were 2 blocks from the CU Stadium, and they were decent then. But we had a 350-room hotel and a beer garden, and we would go through 100 cases of the well in 10 weeks of each kind.
Wow. Crazy.
$50,000
up there, but
days.
I sure heard about that place.
Yeah, $50,000 days when beer was $1.50 and a mixed drink was $2.
Yeah.
What was the name of that place?
That was called the Hilton Harvest House, which Newsweek did a story on and said this was the world's largest happy hour. They had a Friday afternoon club. It's called the world's largest happy hour, and it made Mardi Gras look tame.
Yeah.
And for 4 hours on Friday afternoon the FAC club was renowned. And I thought, what the fuck am I doing here? Pardon me. But it was insane. There was also some drugs sold in Boulder. I mean, I was hired to take over there, and the first night I walked in, nobody knew who I was hired as the new food and beverage director, but they had a problem with drugs. I went to the bar and I said to the bartender, "What do you got?" And he says, "Well, I have a Bud, Michelob, and this and this and this." And he says, "I have some really good cocaine." And I thought, oh shit, what am I doing? Why did I take this job?
Another job.
Yeah, what a job. Cleaning that up was
All right. I got to go,
pretty
guys.
crazy.
I'll see you next week.
All right, Roger. Good to see you.
Oh, great seeing you, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, Kent, it's good to see you again. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Great stories.
Right. Hey, thanks, Dick, for putting together what you're putting together for the Harvard thing. And just big part of the program is fun and banjos.
And washboards.
Certainly is. I have 2 questions. Did I hear you mention that Joel had developed a conference of banjo players where you had hundreds of banjo players come?
I don't think so.
I misheard.
Carnegie Hall was a big one, but I don't know.
Carnegie Hall had something like 35 banjos, Dick, but other than that, no, I don't think he ever did.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah. And Ariel, you mentioned Boulder. Did you work in Boulder in those days?
No, Boulder. I left New Orleans in the Mustache burned down in '75 in New Orleans.
Oh, I see.
And then I went to work at another restaurant, a couple of restaurants down the street, and then I got transferred to Denver in '70. I moved to Denver in '77. Then I moved to Boulder in '78. So that was way after the Mustache was all dead.
Yeah, because I'd spent the summer of '58 in Boulder, and there were a couple wild places there.
One there were still wild places.
Sink.
Probably.
Oh yeah, the Sink's still there. Sink is still there.
Sink is still there. Probably Tulagi's, Dick.
Tulagi's is gone, but the Sink is still there. Was the Blue Note there? The Blue Note was on Bourbon Street. It's now a strip club. But
Tulagi's closed, did it?
I'm sorry?
It did Tulagi's last?
Tulagi's closed.
Tulagi's has been closed, but it was a big rock and roll.
Oh, it was. Yeah. The Eagles used to play there.
Yeah, I played there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Played there
you played where the Eagles did. My God.
Not with the Eagles, but at different times. They had a lot of bands. My first memories, first band I went up there to hear was a band called the Astronauts from Boulder, a surfing band. It was before the Eagles and all the rock and roll stuff came about. It was surfing bands and things like that. And I was in one of those bands, and we used to go up there and hear the Astronauts all the time.
Was Glenda Ronstadt played there back when the Eagles
Oh
were the
hell,
Stone
everybody played
Ponies?
there.
When they were her backing band? Yeah, that was a
Everybody
big.
played there.
Oh yeah, that and the Glenn Miller. Yeah, there was a lot. Boulder was a big music town, and they had Caribou Ranch.
Yeah,
which
that's
was huge.
Netherlands.
Yeah, that's where I lived in Netherlands.
Yeah, I remember your Octagon House.
Yeah, 7-sided passive solar.
Yeah, I spent 10 weeks in Boulder the summer of 1958, the best summer I ever had.
It was a great place.
Taking courses that would have been impossible at Notre Dame. I managed to take them easily at U Colorado, and I had a lot of free time to spend at Tulagis and all the other places.
Oh yeah, it was a great place. Still is. But Dick, Boulder's gotten expensive. The average house in Boulder's about 1.3 million now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, the People's Republic of Boulder. I got to sign
Still a
off,
great
guys.
place.
Kent, Dick, it's good to see you guys.
Hey,
Yeah, good to see you,
Michael.
Thanks.
I'll try to send you, Dick. I'll try to
Cheers,
send you a couple of
everybody,
things.
and will we meet again before Christmas?
Well, I'll be on next week.
Yeah.
I'll try to. If I don't have a doctor's appointment, I'll try to. So,
Yeah.
I'll try to send you a couple of things, Dick, about Carnegie Hall and the mustache things that I have. More recent days than early days, but I'll try to get that off to you in the mail this in the next week.
Okay, guys. Nice to see you all.
Take care, y'all.
hey, nice to meet you, Dick. Thanks for doing what you're doing at Harvard. Joel, for wherever he is, will appreciate it, and we do too. So,
yeah,
thank
it's
you.
a story that really must be told because I had 2 other classmates die this last month. All were very big deals on Wall Street in the industrial world, but they never had the impact. They're long forgotten.
Hey, let me tell you one last thing before I go. I was at a thrift store near my house, and I said something, and this lady who runs it, she's close to 80, and she works there. She manages it, and they raise money. They sell stuff, and they send stuff to Africa. And she said, well, where did you do this? And I said, well, I worked on Bourbon Street in New Orleans in a place called Your Father's Mustache. And she went, no way. She said, I used to go to the one in Denver. And her words were, it was the most fun I ever had in my life. That's what Joel did. He brought people fun.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time years ago, I had a friend of mine who went to the Berkeley School of Business with the guy Ray Kroc, who started McDonald's.
Yeah.
And one of the first things in this class they had to do was say, what business are you in? And everybody went around the room, I'm a plumber, I'm this and this and this. They got to Ray Kroc, and they said, what business are you? And he was the last one. He said, I'm in the mommy relief business. I'm not in the hamburger business. I'm not in the milkshake business. I'm not in the Coca-Cola business. I am in the mommy relief business. I give people the opportunity, the moms, to go get some food for their kids cheaply, inexpensively, and fairly nutritiously, so they don't have to cook tonight. I'm in the mommy relief business. Joel was in the fun business. And fun raises our vibrations as humans. People walked out of Your Father's Mustache in a way they were different people when they went in. Almost all the time. They were happy. I had never seen as many smiles in my life as I saw every night, 5-6 nights a week in New Orleans. Nobody, unless they were so drunk they were stupid, nobody ever left Your Father's Mustache without a smile. Thank you, Joel Schiavone. He brought fun and smiles to the world. And the world is a better place because Joel created a place for us nuts here to help people smile more.
I believe that for sure. That's how it was.
That's my closing statement, Dick.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea that it would be, even when you get to be in your, I'm 87, to have the memories that you've shared, that people said it was the greatest happiness, most fun place they ever was. Yeah.
Name me a place right now that you can have more fun with your clothes up.
There isn't.
Yeah, I rest my case.
Yeah.
So work with Tom, work with Mike to get any pictures or any data you need and stuff. Yeah. And let's get Joel the due he deserves for giving us the venue to bring happiness to the world.
Yeah. That's important. Yeah. That's critical.
So thank you, Dick.
Yes, thank you. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
All righty.